Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. I have 3 fun folds that are all going to be step by step, and I'm going to use this hip kit club. So I just recently subscribed to the hip kit back in January, and I just wanted to give it a try. I'd seen it for years, and I love paper and ephemera, so I thought I would just take the plunge. Now, in the February kit, which just arrived a little while ago, I also purchased this additional add-on, which is 12 by 12 basil paper and an array of colors that match the kit. And I really just wanted these colors in my collection. I thought they were beautiful. There's a couple of sheets of vellum. And so I really wanted some solid colored cardstock because I kind of already had the idea of doing fun folds with this kit. So real quick, I'm just going to kind of flip through and show you what comes in the main kit each month. And I am going through here. Now I'm doing a double flip so you can see because it's double-sided paper, each sheet of paper. But as I do this, I'm picking my favorite sides and putting them facing up. And I will show you after I give you the full flip through what those sheets look like and kind of the coloration that we're going for here. But I ended up using some sides like this one, the one with numbers, that I was not drawn to at all. I ended up using it in one of my cards. So I feel like I never really know. I even feel like that with stamp sets sometimes. Do y'all get stamp sets and you're like, yeah, I think I really want it, but then you end up using it a lot more than you originally anticipated, or you'll be so excited about a stamp set and then never use it? That happens to me really quite frequently. Anyway, so this is my palette. These are the colors I'm working with. And then I go through and I pick the paper that I think coordinates the best. And yeah, so let's get into the fun folds, shall we? I picked 3 to work with. They are not brand new fun folds. They have been out there, but I really love them and I wanted to share them with you. So this is the Concertina and I turned it into a slimline. So I am going to give y'all the measurements here that I used. So I cut my paper down to 10.5 by 9. The 10.5-inch side is going to be the side that does the accordion fold, which is, the trademark look of a concertina design. So what depicted that size for me is I wanted each segment here to be 3.5 inches. So we're going to score it 3.5 and 7, which is going to give me 3 panels that are all the same width. Now, you just score up the same distance of your panel width. So I'm going to mark a spot at 3.5, and then I'm going to turn my paper diagonally in my paper trimmer, and right at that top point, I'm going to trim down to the 3.5 mark. If you're not into slimlines, you can certainly apply the same principle to an A2 card. If you wanted to, it would work. You could apply it to a 6x6 card. You're not limited in this design to one size. The principle is the width of your folds is how far up you make your mark from the bottom, and then you're good to go. Okay, so now I'm just cutting out my card base. Now, when it comes to slimline cards, I kind of like to get the most real estate out of my envelopes, which is a number 10 size business envelope. So mine are a little bigger than I think what has become the industry standard over the last year is a bit smaller. They're usually like 8.5. Anyways, I go that extra 3/4 of an inch to 9.25 typically. Okay, so I'm gluing one side down onto my card base. And guys, I'm going to do some decorating here with y'all today. But like with this card, I really didn't feel like I was done decorating it by the time I'd finished this video. But showing you 3 fun fold tutorials takes enough time as it is, right? So I will be finishing these off later off camera. All right, I wanted to show you here, I want to bring in this background stamp, and so I'm using scrap paper just to make sure I'm only going to be stamping on the one panel that I want to stamp on. And this method is just going to protect the rest of my card. I didn't get as good of a stamp here as I had envisioned or wanted. I could have done better, right? But that's okay. I'm just going to go in and make a couple of small adjustments. So I inked up a little bit more on the stamp and finished the pattern off there. And then I'm planning on putting something across the top there. So I'm not too worried about the top edge. The side edge is bothering me. So I bring a scrap paper in for that, and we'll just cover that up. Pretend like that never happened. I think this design would really be fun for cards for people you haven't seen in a while. Maybe you have children or grandchildren, and you could almost make like a little brag book and like add photos of the family or your cats, whatever you want, but you could just add some little photos into these. You could put quotes, like inspirational quotes. I just really love the real estate size, and I want to play with this more. You'll probably see me revisiting this design again in a future video because I really do want to play with it more. This would probably be really fun for Christmas cards. Like if you send out Christmas cards and you want to send updates about what your family's done this year, stuff like that. The sky's the limit, whatever you come up with. Give me some ideas in the comments down below. Okay, so now I'm masking off some edges because I want to bring in that stamp again, the background stamp. And I'm going to give it a better go this time. So I'm just going to lay that paper there. I know I'm not going up to that top edge, but I still want to protect it because, yeah, I tend to drop things. And that was much better this time. I'm going to bring in a piece of ephemera, and I wish I would have glued it down just like this. That's what I wanted. But by the time I flipped it over and then turned it back around, I didn't have it in the same position. That short little stubby leaf on the right should have been more upright. Instead, I had it angled down, which did not give me the look I was going for. But I'll make it work. See how it's hidden behind that front flap? I did not want that. That's okay. I'm going to bring, there's a couple of little single flowers in this ephemera pack, so I'm just going to bring those in and tuck them behind this piece and just kind of extend the bouquet. When I go back to finish off this card, I might add like a sentiment or, you know, just add more leaves back there, something like that, and really extend this bouquet. So I think you could do so many things with this design, and I wanted to share it with you. Okay, tent fold card. Yes, this has been around many moons, and it's wonderful, and I love it so much. So I took 3 sheets of my paper, I cut it down to 6 by 6, and I'm going to make a 6 by 6 tent fold card. Now, these cards are dynamic in my opinion. I love them so much. basically all you have to do is turn your paper, all 3 sheets, just like I'm doing here, and score it from one tip to the other and fold it over. So you're folding it in half, but on a diagonal, just like this. And you do that with all 3 sheets. Super easy. Okay, now that tan sheet of paper is going to show on 2 sides for the way I assembled this today. So this card, I think the most challenging thing about this card is cutting, especially like if you have directional paper, that could be a challenge getting it right for this card. It's not hard, but you definitely have to think about it. Also, just deciding, what paper do you want on 2 sides of your tent fold? Because when you fold these together, you see that tan paper is going to take up 2 sides. And then you have to pick which, in this case, pink side I wanted to show. Now I'm just going to go in and finish gluing these panels together. I go kind of sparsely with the glue at first, just to make sure I don't go over any edges. So now I have that all secure. And I am going to cut some panels for decorating the tent card. So I'm cutting these down to, I think I did 5.5 by 5.5. And that way I can still see some of that beautiful paper peeking out of the card that we constructed. Okay, because I know these 2 sides are going to show, I'm going to treat this like the front of my card. So for me, it's easier to lay this out in panels and decorate it in panels. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to decorate these 2 sides as one panel, like one cohesive panel. And I'm going to consider that the front of the card. You can, of course, do this any way your mind, whatever your creativity births for you, do this. But this is just the way that I found after making these, my approach that I feel most comfortable with. So now I have the front of my card, and then I just have to pick out what is going to be the back of my card. So I am bringing in this ephemera, and I'm also going to add just one thing from my stash, which is going to be my Prima flowers. I had gotten these recently, and I just thought the colors went so beautifully with this paper and ephemera. And I just wanted, on such a dimensional card, I think it's lots of fun to add a lot of extra dimension, pop things up, add flowers, textiles, all kinds of stuff. After all, you are definitely building a 3-dimensional card. So I brought in the flowers, and I'm just going to glue everything down. I really am loving this glue, you guys. I've been using it for about a month now, and it's definitely my favorite liquid glue at this point. I'm a big fan. It is very strong. So I would say it's definitely comparable to art glitter glue. There are aspects about it that I'm having maybe a better performance of that I like better. So I'm going to stick to it. I'm so elated to have found a liquid glue that I like this much. Okay, so I'm just adhering these down, and I will bring in these enamel dots that came in my kit because I think they're gorgeous. I really love this color palette. It's beautiful. And I want to use different colors. So I'm going to use the green, and I use the pink, and I use the yellow. I thought it'd just be fun to play around and use the rainbow to add interest. Now, you could definitely put like little sentiments or sayings on there, but I'm leaving this card blank in that regards. That way I can use it for birthdays or thank yous or whatever I want. Encouragement. I really, really love these cards. I have a picture of one that I made for Craft Roulette on my Instagram page. Y'all could definitely go over there and check that out. I don't post to Instagram too often. I'm not extremely active there. I kind of just check in like once a week. But I do post things there on occasion. Okay, so now I'm playing with this. Now that cut off flower was kind of bugging me, but that's no problem. I just bring in one of these beautiful Prima flowers and cover it up with that. And I love the way that looks. I'm just making sure that the part that peeks over the edge is not the backing part. It's just the petals. Okay, I have this Velcro from the Dollar Tree, and it is really strong and sticky and just the right size for card making. And I like that it's white because it goes with my paper. If you stick the two sides together, just as they'll stick together, and then adhere them onto your card like that, you won't have to worry about lining things up. They will already be lined up. So that's the tip I would give on Velcro. All right, let's do the inside of the card. So, of course, this is where someone could write a message. And here, I didn't necessarily fold that the way I wanted to. I should have folded it with the other two tips at the crease, and then I could have had the flowers at the bottom, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just what I would have preferred. And that kind of goes back to, you really have to think about, how you cut your paper and how you crease your paper. But that is the tent card. Okay, secret message card. Now, this card is so much fun. Really and truly, it is. You're going to cut a standard card base. So this is an A2 card base that measures 8.5 by 5.5. That's something we're all comfortable with, right? And then we're going to score it at 4.25. This is just like a regular A2 card so far. Now, we're going to score at 2 1/8 on both sides. So it's like a gatefold. All right, easy. You do not have to switch out your scoring boards. I just did that. I was silly. Ignore me. All right, this is important. These are the two cutting lines you're going to do. And you have to do it between your two center panels that are there where you did your main center crease. You're going to do to each side of that. But don't extend into your gatefold portion. I'll bring it up so you can see. Again, this is not a new design. It's an oldie but goodie. And I just wanted to include it here for you guys. Okay, these are 2-inch strips that I had cut down. And here's what I would do. I would cut it like 1/16, maybe even a hair larger, close to 1/8, but not quite. 2 1/8, but not quite. Because here's the thing. These two strips never get glued down. They are loose in your card forever. You can't glue those at all. So it's important to get a nice snug fit so that they won't slip out when someone opens the card or picks the card up. You don't want it too tight because that'll mess up the folding action, but you don't want it too loose to where they fall out. Okay, so this is the size that I put up. If you cut it at 2 1/8, you might have to trim just a hair off. Okay, so these are 2 1/8, slightly smaller by 5 1/2. Actually, these two strips, that's right, sorry. I cut these at 2 because I wanted to show you that, that they are loose. Okay, that is the fold. Now, the first time you fold it, it's good to kind of work it like that. And then this is also an important note that I want to share with you guys. These there's 6. These 6 panels, these squares, are not all the same size. So I think the easiest thing to do is cut them down to 1 1/2 by 1 3/4. That way you get like a universal size that you can put on each one. Those center squares are slightly larger than the top and bottom squares. So, all right, these 2 strips that were 2 inches were leftovers, and so I decided I would put them on the inside panels. And then once we have those adhered down, so these are 2 inches long, and they'll be by 5 1/2. Or I might have done it by 5 1/4, just so I have a little more paper of that beautiful blue paper showing. So you could do it by 5 1/2, or you could do it like these by 5 1/4. And that way you get to have a matting layer. Now these cards are so much fun because you can use up all your tiny ephemera on these little squares. You could use thought bubbles and add details. You could add critters. It's just so much fun. So let's tackle the front of this card. I am going to bring in just a white sheet of paper. And I'm going to cut this down. Now this you can cut at any size you want, but I picked 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Again, I just really felt like that allowed that blue to pop off the page. And I liked the way it looked overall. Okay, here's the number paper that I did not anticipate myself using, but I like it here cut to the size because by the time I put the floral wreath on it, you can't even tell that it's numbers. It just looks really graphic, and I liked the warmth of the yellow color. So I take foam tape and put it all around the wreath. And then I'm playing with this. I just barely set it on my paper because I'm not sure 100% what I'm going to do at this point. I think I'm going to add more flowers. Isn't that pretty, that sprig that I just picked out up there at the top? Oh, so pretty. I like this ephemera. I'm coming to realize I really like ephemera with a lot of diversity. I like options. This one felt a little limited. Okay, I brought in a stamp to stamp a sentiment because that's what I felt like this panel needed. Then I will pop this up. And I felt like that was just the right touch for this card. And now when you're going to glue this panel down, make sure that you're only gluing on one side. You don't want to glue your card shut. You've worked so hard on it. And that's that. And now you get to play, right? You get to have fun playing with ephemera. And again, I didn't go all out on decorating these cards with you guys today. I don't feel like they're necessarily finished, but I really just wanted to share the beauty of this paper, and I wanted to share these 3 fun folds in one place with dimensions and all the cutting and folding instructions for you guys so you could give them a try. I did bring in these, they came in the kit as well, and I just added a couple in the squares. You do need to be careful about how much layering you do on these, because remember, none of those center panels are glued down, and so they will kind of fold or bubble. Here are my 3 cards. So let me set this to the side, and we'll go back to the beginning, the concertina. And again, you could do so much with this, adding in whatever you like and all of this new real estate on your card, as well as on the inside. I just put a piece of paper in there. I think when I go to send this to someone, depending on who I send it to and what's going on, will depict how I finish off this card. But at least I have one started. And then there's this tent card. I so love these so much. I think they are great fun. You can do this with smaller pieces of paper. And I do believe, you're going to have to send this in like a 9x12 envelope. And you'll have to have it folded flat, obviously. Or if you're just giving it to someone, you could put it in their gift bag and the card could be part of the gift. Okay, and then here is this super fun secret message card. I have seen so many cute designs with this before, and I just think it's really special and unique. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're inspired by these designs and you'll give it a try. Come back, watch some more cards with me, and have a great day. Bye.